Hello. Good evening. Good day. Hello. I need to post the link in my other Discord chat to let them know that I'm live too. They get testy if I don't do that. Oh. Well, today has been a day. Hi, Nick. Klaus. Wolf. You're, glad you could pop in, buddy. I understand. Work do be a work. Zonated! Yes, I'm wearing my Different Dice hoodie. It's the Enter the Dice Realm hoodie. Hope everybody's having a good Monday evening. I have had an interesting Monday. It was pretty good to begin with. We had to take my daughter to the dentist. She's a baby. What is this song? Okay, we're gonna be doing some. I think we're gonna be doing a different station tonight. Let's just do some nice. Let's do some nice lo-fi. We're just gonna bring it down. That's what we're gonna do. Shh. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna bring it down. There we go. Nice. All right. Anyway. We had to take my daughter to the dentist today. She's a baby, but she had a tongue tie when she was born. So that just meant she had a little, she had a little bit of skin on the that came down to the end of her tongue, and they had to zap it off with a laser. Or else she would have had trouble eating or talking. You know, that sort of thing. But, yeah. But to make a long story short, it's made her very fussy. That is why I am so late to my stream today. And earlier today, I had to go run and do stuff. I had to buy paint. So. It's weird. I'm looking at my chat on screen, and it doesn't line up with what's going on the YouTube chats. So there you go. All right. Anyway, YouTube chat is behind, so that is what we will be dealing with there. Anyways, just to recap some of the progress we have made. It was very quick. So far for our Fishmen, we have done these two blue fellows here. Those are the first ones we did. And we've done these two green fellows. And these are the second ones that we've done. So, oh, I forget you're in the future, Klaus. So, happy Tuesday to you. But we've painted these four. We've got their skin and their scales all done. Which has been a lot of fun. I love this style that I'm going for here. And tonight we're on the last two for this particular pose. And these ones are going to be red. So, all right. For the skin, I think we're going to go with a little bit of more of an orangey color. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create our transitional layer. We're going to be blending, or we're going to be mixing molten lava and berserker red. And that's where we're going to start. Whew. I'm just dropping stuff. Don't bother. Don't mind me. Alrighty. We begin. It's a very interesting day. So it's nice to just unwind at the end of it, you know? Just kind of hang out and do some painting. I think this lo-fi is fitting to my mood tonight because I'm kind of like, I'm a little stressed out, you know? When you got a baby who's crying and you can't really like make them feel any better because, you know, they're gassy or sore or whatever, and you're like, you know, I don't know what to do to make you feel better. It's stressful, man. But, you know, she'll be okay. And she'll thank me for it when she's older. I did have a good time I did have a good time holiday with the youngins. The littlest is far too little to understand anything of what's going on, but my oldest child, my son, he was finally experiencing the majesty of Christmas, and he absolutely loved it. And Klaus, I would love access to the different squad STLs you made. I have a 3D printer. And it would be cool to paint those or something, or whatever they are. I don't know what they are. If they're miniatures or what. Yeah, because like right now I can hear her fussing. So hopefully I'll be able to stream for a little while tonight. If not, then you know. I'll just I'll flee. And you guys will know why. Ah, cool. That is very cool. I like that idea. I've been enjoying painting these abominations because I love painting the different textures, like the scales and the skin are like two different textures. Obviously, the skin is much softer than the scales, so that's been a lot of fun. I don't know how well this That's okay, Klaus. You go do what you gotta do, man. Thanks for popping in. I'm not talking much this stream anyway. I'm just kind of, you know, low key, just. I'm trying to de stress and, you know. I think that's an important thing for everybody, you know? Just take some time, especially at the end of the day, to just do something that relaxes you. Could be reading a book. Could be painting minis. Could be playing video games. All of these are valid avenues for relieving stress. Other methods of stress relief are available. Those are just the ones that I like. I find that on the nights that I paint before I go to bed, I actually sleep better. Because I'm relaxed. Not all wound up. Sometimes playing games gets you all wound up. Those aren't the kinds of games that I want to play before bed, personally. I guess that's why I don't play a lot of multiplayer games. Because competition gets me all riled up sometimes. I kind of felt that way when I was playing Marvel Rivals. And I really like Marvel Rivals, but you know, I was kind of good at it, but like, you know, I got all worked up when I was stuck with a crappy team or when I was on a losing streak. I just kind of low-key thought to myself, I probably don't need to play this that much if it's going to make me that upset. I don't have time to play and practice it or anything. But me and Travis used to play it semi-regularly for a while. What you building, Zone? Gundam. Nice. Golf custom. That's cool. I don't know that particular Gundam model, but that sounds awesome. GAO or GOUF. I do not know that particular one. Which Gundam series is it from, or is it just a model? The one I know the most is, I know Gundam Wing, I know G Gundam. Those are the two that I know the most of the Gundam series. I do like Gundam, though. I've never built a Gundam model, though. That is something that I might be interested in doing at some point, because I hear that they're very good. You know nothing. It's like a blue Zaku. That's okay, man. I probably would know the exact same amount as you. Yeah, people love their Zakus. I mean, they're cool looking, I guess. I mean, they're all jobbers to me, but you know. My preferred Gundam jobbers. Hi, Travis. Over on the Twitch chat. Old Diff was here. Yeah, Gundam. Yeah, I prefer my jobbers to be the jobbers from Gundam Wing. I like those the Leos and the Aries, the ones that are named after constellations. Or zodiac signs or whatever. I always thought they were kind of cool. They were a little bit cooler than the Zakus, in my humble opinion. Don't come for me, Gundam people. All right, that's our first transitional layer. I'm dropping everything tonight, so be warned. It's one of those nights. All right, now our midtones are going to be the orange. It's a very transparent paint. The orange. I may need to do 2 coats of the orange to get it to work. thinking about this color choice. I think it'll work, but we'll see. After it dries, we'll make a executive decision. I might paint over it. This is a mid-tone. It might be a little bit too striking. But we'll see. You know? That's the joy of painting. There are no mistakes. Just happy little accidents, you know? And it also might be that this is just the wrong orange for this. I might need a more desaturated orange to pull the effect in my head off. I don't know. Might not be all bad. Because I wanted the scales to be the more bright red. And so I thought maybe the skin, the soft colors could be orange. It's a good, like, complementary sort of, like, color. My other thought was to do kind of like a tan. Or khaki. But then I thought to myself, I was like, you know what? I use that color so freaking much. And, you know, why? Why use that color all the time? Why not try something a little different, you know? Yeah. He is still in chat. 10K boy. To switch? No, he can stay on Twitch. I need Twitch viewers. I got like 2. And one of them's me. And yes, sir, it is a red one. I mean, not to make too many bones about it, but currently Twitch is where my bread is buttered. If we're talking about monetization, I am a Twitch affiliate, so I can actually make money off of that. This guy's more of like a tropical fish. which that's pretty cool actually now I think about it. A goldfish kinda actually with this color. Which is kind of hilarious actually. The more I look at it, the more I like it. I am gonna have to do a few coats of this, I think. That's gonna be the only downside of this particular color. But I'm liking the way it looks. I don't know, chat, what do you think? Are we feeling the orange, or are we thinking that it's a little too drastic of a shift? I'm liking it so far. I'm gonna need to go through with another thin coat, or with another coat, but I like it so far. Did this idiot or this lo-fi song have Michael from Vsauce in it?
That would mean that we have, with this brain, a tiny thing, a septillion times smaller than the tiny planet it lives on. Discovered something true.
Maybe a pale color instead. Yeah,
If they do,
I kind of get that.
finds a use for them. That's great. But if not, that's great too.
Yeah, I mean, I was like thinking like the colors that I was kind of weighing was either this one, the orange, or like a khaki color, like, you know, like a tan kind of color. And like I said earlier, I just use it so much. I was like, And I didn't want to make it pink or fleshy because I didn't want them to, you know, I didn't want it to look like human flesh because they're fishmen. And I know they're called abominations, but yeah. Let me think. I'm trying to think of like I've done khaki recently. I did it on the like on the mummies, like, and the zombies. I did khaki on like their pants, and the mummies like wrapping was kind of like this. It was like a similar sort of like paint scheme. So I just use that color a lot, and I used it a heck of a lot when I was doing the mummies and the zombies. My God. Okay. Alright, I need to go back over it with another coat of the orange, because this is a pretty thin paint. And the coverage doesn't seem to be great, but it's also potentially my fault. May not be the paint's fault. And also, orange is kind of like yellow in the sense that it's kind of a difficult color to work with because the pigments are not always like super strong. And when you don't have a super strong pigment in your paint, it doesn't really like, it just doesn't like cover as well. Interesting. There's like a little dip on the chin there. That's like the model kind of like got a chip on it. This is super thrilling watching me repaint the thing that I just painted. Also, I missed a spot up here. But unfortunately, that's just the nature of the beast sometimes, ladies and gentlemen. Especially when you're painting with orange. Travis, I didn't ask you what you're up to tonight. I can guess. But I want to hear it from you. Yeah, procrastinating getting your shipping stuff done. I can understand that. Hey, you gotta do that shipping, man. Those dice aren't gonna walk themselves over. I know, work. They kind of look like lava fishmen. That's cool too. I have a plan how I might make this work a little bit better. But it'll be after everything is painted. So I don't think this does. I think this does work. It's just very vibrant. So we may do something to darken it down just a little bit once everything is all said and done. Because it is a very bright color. And when I add highlights, it's going to be even brighter. So
Volcano!
Hello, Mortis 13 TTV. Entering with a volcano. I was like, wait a second, what's happening right now? That's very funny. That's from Legend of Dragoon. If you have ever played Legend of Dragoon, you hear that a lot. Volcano! Double slash. Harpoon! All those sorts of things. Because, it was one of the few JRPGs on the original PlayStation to have voice acting. At least one of the few that I played. And your character shouted out their attacks in combat. It was very funny. Because we know by the rules of anime that if you shout out the name of your attack, it makes it stronger. And I don't make these rules. I merely follow them. I'm good, Mortis. Exactly. Hadouken! Shoryuken! Tatsumaki Sabugyaku! Yes, indeed. I have been live most Mondays and Thursdays. That is my goal. Mondays and Thursdays. I think I'm going to switch to evening streams because I think that works better for most folks. And also, it'll work better for me in the long run. Because once my wife goes back to work and I have to watch my little baby Durder during the day, I'm not going to be able to stream in the mornings or anything like that. So, works a lot better for me to just stream at night. I am going to put up a schedule on, I think I'm going to stick to the schedule and I'm going to put it up on my Twitch channel as my actual schedule. I have been terrible about updating like all the info on my Twitch channel and everything. I stopped doing Twitch for a long time, and I just got so busy, and nobody was watching, and I got depressed, so I stopped doing Twitch, and there's some schmutz on there, a little bit of a dried pigment. So all the stuff that's on like my Twitch channel info is all old and outdated, so it needs to be updated. I'm handsome on every one of those days. Shoo. Sheesh. Hello, Coyote. Over on Twitch. Or not Twitch. YouTube. Thank you. I think it's a pretty neat looking Fishman too. I'm going to go for something a little different. My other Fishmen are very cool colors, and this one's going to be orange. I don't know if I'm going to do my second red colored Fishman the same color, just because I'm thinking that this is going to be too much of a pain in the ass for me to do twice. Because this color is kind of, the pigment is super thin in this, and the coverage isn't that great, so it is, I had to do multiple thin coats, and when I'm doing this much of a paint on the model, I didn't assemble it, on the figure, multiple thin coats is kind of a pain in the tuchus. But I do like the way this one looks. I like the orange. I think it's a very vibrant color. Makes them stand out. Not necessarily a bad thing. But a lot of these flatter areas, like his back here, I don't know how well it's showing up on camera, but there's lots of spots where I can still see a lot of the base color or the color below it showing through. And it's not ideal. There's some dried pigment in there I'm trying to get off. So, it's not too bad though. I mean, I think it came out, I think the color came out looking pretty nice. There we go. Very cool. All right, so now we can move on to the highlights. And we're gonna mix first that molten lava with this orange flare color. I just bought this today, so I do not know how well it's going to work. But it's a little bit of a paler orange. So this is gonna be our transitional color. So we're just gonna mix. I need to get a little bit more of that molten lava on my palette because it's thinned out. So this is a very thin paint. All right. Not much difference there. Let's add a little bit more of that highlight color. That'll work. All right. So this is our transitional color for the highlights. And then we'll just move straight on to the highlights, of course, afterwards. We'll probably do the second Fishman, a little bit of or second red Fishman, a little bit of a different color. I would say a little bit different color, I mean a completely different color. Mostly just because I think that this is just a little too thin of a paint for me to work with. In large scale like this. You can definitely see that highlight, or it's a transitional highlight, not the final highlight, but you guys know what I mean. If you've tuned into the stream before, you know how I paint. And if you haven't, I largely paint just building up layers. I do not use, typically, unless I use them for a very specific purpose. I do not typically use washes or anything like that. Not that there's anything wrong with using washes, it's just not how I paint anymore. That's how I used to paint. But I've sort of moved on and I just layer now. And the reason would be stupid if you knew it. I'm really liking the way that this Fishman's orange skin is coming out. I don't think that I will do the other one like this just because I'm having such trouble with this orange paint. So this fellow will probably be a bit unique. I'll probably just do a boring khaki on the other one. It does, but the problem with it, Travis, is that I have to do multiple thin coats or multiple coats of it because it does not cover in one coat. Now that wouldn't be bad. That wouldn't be a bad thing if it was just because I was thinning down the paint. But I'm not thinning it down that much, and I'm still seeing a ton of the like seeing splotchy like drying. It's not drying even, and there's nothing wrong with the paint. I'll emphasize that. There's nothing wrong with the paint. That's just the nature of pigment. And I think it's good. It's perfectly fine to have one orange Fishman. To answer your question, Coyote, is this for D&D? Well, it could be. But this specifically, this figure is for a board game called Hero Quest. I have been systematically painting all of the figures from the kit, or from the from the game, and this is one of them. But I think it's perfect. Yeah, but I think it's perfectly fine to have a unique orange Fishman. But you could definitely use this figure for D&D to represent a Sahagin or one of those other fishmen. That's a pretty nice transitional layer, I think. Did I hit the legs? Yeah, I hit the legs. All right, now we're just gonna move on to our highlight, and this is just gonna be the orange flare. I'm just hitting those raised parts again. Not wanting to use too much of this color because we don't want to brighten it up too much. It's a very nice highlight. Howdy, Senor Alec. Glad you could join us. Welcome to the party stream where we're painting fishmen. I do like the way this color looks though, Travis. I can understand why it would be worth the trouble. But I'm thinking maybe it's only worth the trouble because it's going to be on one. Not on long, you're in the office tomorrow. Well, that just sucks. All right, this is actually number 5 because we've got 1, 2, blue men. These 2. Scales and skin. And then we've got 1, 2 green ones. So you've got the blue and you've got the green. That's what we've done so far. And now, moving on to red. I only have 1 more of this particular pose. So, and then we have 2 of these guys who are completely different. So you like green a lot? And blue's your number 2. So are you saying that you don't like this color, Alec? You saying you don't like the red and orange? Is that what you're telling me? You telling me that it's hideous? For those who are strangers watching the stream, I know Alec, and I know he won't take offense to me berating him. It is an invigorating combination of hues. Oh, thank you, sir. Your candor is most appreciated. Verily, I doff my hat to thee, if I had but a free hand to doff it. The tip on this brush is getting a wee bit curly, which is annoying. But, you know, it's still working so far.
Alright, let's bring that beat back.
You're almost done with this highlight. All right. I believe we're done with the highlights on the skin for this particular miniature. I like the way it came out. Let's do the scales. All right, so the scales are going to be red, obviously, to counterbalance it. So we're going to take the base coat, which is the shadow tone, which is Berserker Red, and we're going to mix it with Sanguine Scarlet. tight. Probably because, yes, the paint is leaked out onto it. Okay. Okay. So this first color is a transition between those two colors. And that Sanguine Scarlet is going to be our mid-tone. So most of it's going to be covered, or most of it's going to be that color, with only the highlights being a brighter color. I'm showing it pretty well on camera. Sometimes these transitional shades don't really show up that well. I have noticed that. The other thing about acrylic paint is that it always goes on super bright and vivid, and then when it dries, it's always less vibrant than it was when it was initially applied. There may be some exceptions to that when it comes to colors, but your basic ones don't really dry as bright as they look when you first put them on. I'm thinking that fluorescent paints probably dry a little bit brighter or dry just as bright as they are when you put them on, but I don't know. I don't use fluorescents. I should look into getting some, honestly, because they're kind of cool for like glow effects and stuff. I might look into that. this song is. It's a little weird.
Yes. Go. Volcano.
Thank you, Alec, for the volcano. Appreciate that. Gets me out of my stupor. My paint-induced stupor.
Yes. Go. Volcano.
Thank you, Travis, for the volcano.
Yes. Go. Volcano.
Thank you, Travis, for the second volcano. What are you... How many can we get? We're up to 3 in a row.
Yes.
All right,
Go.
we're up to 4.
Volcano. Yes. Go.
5.
Volcano.
Frickin' nerds.
Yes.
6.
Go. Volcano. Yes. Go. Volcano.
That's 7.
Yes. Go. Volcano.
8. I'm sorry, YouTube. You can't do volcanoes.
Go.
9.
Volcano.
Are you a problem? I mean, I wouldn't call you a problem.
Yes. Go. Volcano. Yes.
I could always just turn off the sound alerts.
Volcano.
You're 20K. We broke it up with the Final Fantasy IX victory theme. And theoretically, you could do it all night, yeah. It's not like you guys haven't been hanging out on my channel for a long time. Ample opportunity to stack up those channel points. If you're watching over on YouTube, I apologize. I don't think I can add sound alerts onto YouTube, even if you wanted them. At least I do not know how to. So I'll put it that way. I do not know how to do that thing. Do not know if it is a thing that could happen. All right, so that is our transitional layer. So now we're moving on to just the full on our midtones, which is just going to be the straight up Sanguine Scarlet. A lot of these sound alerts are inspired by games that I played when I did my classic RPG nights. RPG streams, rather. Or retro RPG streams. And I'm going to bring those back, I think. I think Wednesday nights are going to be the night for old school RPGs. I don't know if you guys could see these colors or not, but I'm really liking this. If you could, I guess you can't see. You probably can, but I mean, like, you probably can't see it in your head what I have envisioned. But I really like this combo. But hopefully you're seeing a little bit of the vision here. Yeah. Well, once we hit it with the highlights, it will be a big difference, of course. But yeah, these are the midtones, so they're not supposed to be super bright. Okay, so that's our that's our midtones there. Now, time for our transitional highlight. Now for this, in order to kind of pull these two very different colors together, I'm going to mix the Sanguine Scarlet and the Orange Flare. And then for our final highlight, we're going to mix more of the Orange Flare into there. But that will bring these two orange, or the orange and the red together a little bit, so that, you know, they don't seem quite as different from one another. But since this is just a highlight, it's not going to overwhelm our midtones here. And since this is just a transitional color, you're probably not going to see a ton of it. And all I'm doing is making sort of a scratchy highlight on the end of each scale. And for these hard scales up at the top of the, near the eyes and the head, I'm just kind of lightly running my brush over the raised areas. Just kind of following the grain of the scales. Trying not to really, try not to blow out my shadows, which I could very easily do. Yeah, these are coming together nicely. You can't really see the transitional color on camera, but at least I can't, but trust me when I say it's very important. All right. Okay. Now our last highlight is going to be this same color, but we're going to add more of the orange to it. So it's going to be an even brighter, sort of like, almost like, it's a very reddy orange. And if this doesn't show up that well, or if it doesn't provide the highlight that I'm looking for, what I'll do is I'll just do a straight up highlight of that bright orange color is what we'll do. So this one is supposed to be our highlight. So I'll try it first. And then if it doesn't show up well, maybe a little bit more of the orange actually. Because I just feel like it's just not bright enough, you know? It's just too subtle. Yeah, I think we're just going to end up doing mostly orange. And then we'll do just a tiny little bit of that red in there. I'm just looking over at my palette, and it's amazing how as soon as I added that little bit of red, it like the red just takes over, man. It's crazy. But this color should be different enough. It should show up. So we're gonna give it a try. Oh yeah, that'll do. Oh yeah, I like the way that looks. Yeah, very nice. Alrighty. After this, we'll be done with highlights. And there we go. Yeah, we got texture on there. Okay, bud. Go knock out. Have a good sleep. That's okay, son. Thanks for coming back. I'm sorry you were gonna get pissed, though. And we finished the, we finished one of the red fishmen. So, very nice, very nice, very nice. I think it came out pretty cool. So this is, I think this is good. This is like a fire fishman, or a tropical fishman, or a cold fish. I can't decide which one is which. But yeah, it's very nice. I think it came out pretty cool. I like the texture, of course, on the scales. It's a good blend of colors. Pretty proud of that. One more in the bag. And for this gentleman, I think we're going to try something a little different. just because, as I was saying earlier, I think that orange paint is just a little too thin. The pigment's just not saturated enough. Ancient fish. That's a thing. Could be. So I think what we're going to do for this one is we are going to go with the sort of like more of a paler khaki. But we're going to start off with a mix of Dragon Fang and Berserker Red. And also, I'm talking about it, I kind of just want to see what it looks like. So, these are my models, and I can make my life more difficult if I want to. Because that's all I'm doing right now. I'm going to bust out more paints from my palette. Okay, so this is our transitional color between the Berserker Red and that Dragon Fang, or the tan kind of color. I know, Travis. How dare I? How dare I switch things up without submitting the proper documentation? And you fill out those forms in triplicate. I know. Yeah, again, you're probably not seeing a whole lot of difference on stream. This is much lighter than the other one, though, so you may be catching some inklings of it, or it may be obvious to you. This is a little bit more of a fleshier tone. Which gives me pause because I didn't want a flesh tone. But I'm gonna give it a chance. I gave the orange a chance. don't know why this music sounds like Twin Peaks music to me. Sounds a bit like Laura's theme. It's called Vivid Nightmare, so maybe it was inspired by it. I don't know. Oh, that reminds me. Funny thing I learned about Angelo Badalamenti, who was the composer for the music on Twin Peaks. He actually did the score for Christmas Vacation. Which is insane to me. But learn something new every day. How many Fishmen I got? It is really fucking weird. But same guy, Angelo Badalamenti. This one we just finished. Or just got this one. Got these two fellows. And these two fellows. That's all of these pose that I have. And then I have two more that are a completely different pose. These two fellows. But yeah, when I was watching, me and my wife watch Christmas Vacation every year. It's one of our favorite Christmas movies. And when I was reading the credits as they were going on, it said music by Angelo Badalamenti. I was like, wait, what? And so I looked it up. I was like, there's no way that's the same guy. And sure enough, I looked it up. Yep, same guy. I want to say that a bioluminescent fishman. I don't think I have anything that's like bright enough to be bioluminescent. I mean, the orange guy is probably as bright as I got. I need to get some fluorescent paint. But I think the reason why Angelo Badalamenti did the music for Twin Peaks is because David Lynch worked with him before on Lost Highway, I think. And he knew like his style. And he wanted it for Twin Peaks. But it was very strange when I saw it. I was like, that's so weird. Because if my memory serves me right, I'm still talking about Angelo Badalamenti and Twin Peaks, guys. If my memory serves me right, looking at his filmography, he went from doing Christmas Vacation to doing Twin Peaks. Like, that was the next thing that he did. So I never would have thought that Christmas Vacation would needed like haunting synths. But when I listen to the music or the score in it, and you know there's that scene. Yeah. Yeah, it's a weird, it's more like a lateral move. But like when I think about the score of Christmas Vacation, I don't really think about like, you know, haunting synths, but then you go back and you like, and I listen to like this theme of like when Clark is in the attic and he's like watching like the old like the weird or like his old like holiday reels and stuff. I'm like, okay, we've got some haunting synth here. You know, that's not completely like unheard of. But then you like hear the theme of like, you know, when he's going down the hill because you put fucking food varnish on the bottom of his sled or whatever it is. They're just like, that's so out of left field. But, you know, hey, Hollywood's a weird place, man. I've actually been thinking about Twin Peaks a lot, and not just because I always think about Twin Peaks, but because of a lot of people. I don't know if it was like David Bowie's like birthday or something, and people were like sharing pictures of like David Bowie or whatever, or it was something about the date that was like a date that lined up with the show, but there is it's in, I believe it's in the TV show. It may just be in the movie. I can't remember because it's been a while since I've watched my Twin Peaks, and you can call me a fake fan if you want, but I've watched the series like 500 times. It's just been a little while, so sue me. But there's a David Bowie is a character of somewhat great significance in Twin Peaks. He does a terrible American accent. It's kind of funny. But he plays an FBI agent. And he's on screen for not very long. But it has a lot, his character has a lot of impact. I won't spoil it for anyone who's not seen Twin Peaks. And if I did tell you what it was, you wouldn't understand anyway, so. Yeah. Yeah, he played Tesla in the Nolan movie. Yeah, that's friggin' awesome. But yeah, David Bowie was in Twin Peaks. I mean, it's freaking awesome. Yeah, the other, like, what was I gonna say? Oh, yeah, the other thing that made me think about Twin Peaks was the Stranger Things finale. And nothing specifically about the Stranger Things finale, but mostly, like, you know, how some people, I'm not going to name any names because I don't really know any names, but I know some people who weren't satisfied with the Stranger Things finale, or they felt like it had too many plot holes, etc., etc., etc. And they felt like it didn't explain things enough. And my thing is, like, you know, obviously you've never watched Twin Peaks. Oh, dude. Okay, so now people are going to talk about it. Yeah, okay, but they could have done better. No, listen. Here's the thing. I say this as a person who liked the finale. I didn't love it. I liked it. It's obvious to me that, you know, people expect everything to be spelled out for them nowadays when it comes to television and whatnot. And they want to know the answer to everything. I get that. But at the same time, I think that some things you're gonna fill in the gap. Yeah, no teeth. Teenagers fought a kaiju. Not even got a little hurt. It was fine. See, here's the thing. I've explained this to Travis before, so he knows what I'm gonna say. The whole concept of the show, the whole concept from day one, was that it was like an 80s movie. That's been the whole concept the entire time. And the fact that everybody makes it out at the end, that's just like an 80s movie. And people say that, you know, okay, well, you got to have stakes to make it make sense. We had our stakes. We had our loss. We mourned. We mourned Eddie in the last season. He was the person that people fell in love with, and he was the person who died. That motivated the story onwards. And that was enough, I think. And nobody died in the kaiju fight because, or nobody got hurt in the kaiju fight because power of friendship. The final battle was super anticlimactic. Everything else is just taste. It's easy as balls. Well, it was like how many against like a giant monster and a really gross guy? I can't even, like, I don't even know how many main characters there were in Stranger Things at this point. And effectively, it was just everybody against one because they're a hive mind. But I get it. Listen, I understand all of the complaints. I do. They're valid. I think it's valid to be complaining and disappointed with the way a season ended. I think that until you've watched the television show Lost, you can't really tell me that you're disappointed with an ending. Until you've suffered through that, as we did. Which was a finale that was supposed to be this, like, answer to this big mystery box full of questions. And it ended out to be, like, the stupidest answer of all time. And that's anticlimactic. Stranger Things ended the only way that it could have ended. And again, I liked it. I didn't love it. Lost pissed me off with the ending. I said to myself after I watched the ending of Lost, well, I just wasted my time with that. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to tell you, I watched that finale live, on the air. I made an appointment to sit in front of my television set that night and watch it. And it pissed me off. It almost pissed me off as much as the ending to Game of Thrones. Thank you, just said what I was just thinking. Stranger Things had a much better finale than Game of Thrones. You want to talk about a series that had stakes? Yep, same brain cell. You want to talk about a series that had stakes, real stakes, like huge stakes, like characters died all the time. And then you get to the frickin' finale, and the guy who was like supposed to be the end of the world is killed in like 5 seconds. Oh, yeah. That is an unsatisfying finale. I agree. Breaking Bad has the best finale of any television show. It was a completely satisfying end. And I'll go on to say, just because I think, we moved on to the dragon thing, but, or not skeleton, the dragon thing, yeah, the dragon thing. Breaking Bad has the most satisfying television finale of all time. And I'll go on to say that I think that it's kind of tied for me with Better Call Saul. Because Vince Gilligan, he managed to pull it off again, man. When he did Better Call Saul. He did it again. And I was like, son of a bitch, you did it again. And I hope he can do the same thing with Pluribus, quite honestly. Because I'm really liking Pluribus. Oh, it gives you high hopes for where Pluribus is heading. You haven't finished Better Call Saul. That's fine. It's a very I think you kind of have to be a little bit of a Breaking Bad, like, enthusiast to watch Better Call Saul. Because you start to make connections with the mainline series as you go through. And you start to see where things are going, and honestly, it had one of the biggest surprises of any like TV show that I've watched when it comes to like a character death. Like, it just comes out of nowhere. I was not expecting it, and in hindsight, it made a lot of sense when it happened. But like, I was just like, whoa, when it happened. The other thing about Better Call Saul was it had one of the best villains on television. Chuck? No, it's not Chuck. Chuck's not the one that surprised me. Yes, you should definitely continue. Like I said, one of the best villains in any show in Lalo Salamanca, when he comes into the story. Because he is, I mean, he's the best kind of villain in that he's just like he's the kind of villain. All right, go eat and make dice. Have fun, bud. But yeah, just watch Better Call Saul. I love you, bud. Have a good night. We are... I'm liking this color combo as well. For our Fishmen, it's more of a tan. I'm not sure which one I like better. I think I kind of like them both equally. I'm getting a little warm. It makes the model look very brown. The mini, sorry. I did not assemble the mini. Makes the mini look very brown. I am starting to fade a little bit because I'm getting tired and hot, and my Adderall has long worn off, so I don't know how much longer I'm going to be able to go, but we'll see. I'm trying to. I want to get both of these flesh and scales all taken care of. That would be my goal for tonight. So I'm going to try to do it. Yep, I like this color scheme too. I think both of these are equally good red Fishman color schemes. And quite honestly, the two colors that I'm using for this, these do not need a transitional color because they're so similar. In fact, I may need to step up one more color in order to make the highlights look like highlights and not just, you know, a blend. But we shall see. This color feels very Street Sharks to me. If you ever watched that show, this whole scheme kind of feels like a Street Sharks color scheme. Because there was like that, I think it was a whale shark. He was like brown, or what? Maybe it was the hammerhead shark that was sort of like this color, and he had like the tan body. Goblin Welder, thank you for the raid with a party of 5. Welcome on in. We are painting Fishmen. Thank you, Goblin Welder. And Walter's Workshop for, yes, thank you for this, my hat. And yeah. Welcome on in. We've been working on some Hero Quest Abominations, and thank you both for the follow, Goblin Welder, Walter's Workshop. What were you guys working on? Hold on, I think I have a shout-out emote. Alright, I think I have a shout-out command. I don't get to do this very often. Oops, that's right, wrong one. There we go. There we go. That's it. Yeah. There we go. Your miniatures and models. There we go. What were you painting, Goblin Welder? The best thing about Hero Quest is Fishmen. Yeah, I miss the femurs, I'm not gonna lie. But I do like these Fishmen, so not gonna complain too much. But yeah, welcome on in. What were you painting? What were you working on? Love to know. Yeah, I've been slowly going through my Hero Quest models. I have a goal to hit before I work on anything else, really. I am very nearly done with the core set or the core game system and the first couple of expansions. Because we do know that Hero Quest is the best game ever, so it deserves the best paint job ever. Old World Ogres. Neglecting your painting? Got some new paints in your paint rack. That's a paint rack. Oh, so you got some new paint racks that keep your paints organized and in front of you. So you're hoping it kills you in the painting more. Yeah, no, I get that. I took a long break in painting. have so much left, but I took a long break because I had a child. And then, you know, shit happens. But I've been painting pretty consistently since I started streaming. Streaming the painting honestly helps keep me a little more accountable to myself. I've made a lot of progress since I started doing that. I am like I said, very nearly done with the core box set and the first couple of expansions, so. No, no, no. The babies are not very good at being conscripted into the painting. They want to eat the paint, which is not a good thing. Though my son, he's now, he was the one who made me take a break from painting. He's now 2.5 years old, and he has a sister now who was born this year. She doesn't quite take up as much time just because we have two of them, and they kind of, I don't know, we kind of know what we're doing now, so. But he actually loves to paint. Not minis. He loves to paint his little, he's got these little, like, washable paints, and he loves to, like, paint little, like, he just goes crazy, but, you know, he likes to paint. So, hopefully one day I'll get him into it. Yours is 15 now. Well, congratulations on that. You kept him alive a long time. And, you know, hopefully now they're at the point where almost they can take care of themselves. Almost. I'm sure they still want things from you, like to do their laundry and to, you know, pay for their things. Ah, I see. Yeah, no, I get that. But you know. But I'm sure he still is very capable in some ways. I'm sure he's a wonderful human being to be around. Which in itself is an accomplishment. Because I know far too many who are not wonderful people to be around. We are very nearly done with the skin on this particular Fishman. We just have a couple more highlights to do. These are the midtones, so we're gonna do a highlight, and then we may do a brighter highlight depending on what the first one looks like. Whoop. I was hiding him from you. Not on purpose. Sometimes I forget where my camera film box is. You know, that box that makes the pictures appear on the screen. I'm gonna go back in. There's some spots where this didn't quite get as strong of a coat as I wanted. I'm running into the same problems with this paint, ironically, that I did with the orange paint earlier. Which, you know. We have a... You live and learn, right? Too much of the undercoat showing here. But that is what to be expected when you're going from a darker color to a lighter color. Whew, we have just one more side back here. But the good thing about this particular coat, or this particular color, at least from what I'm seeing here, is that it does a bit more better coverage. It's not as thin, at least, or as watery as the orange paint was, so it's not as much of an effort to get it to come through the way I want it to. very nearly done with the back of the street shark looking mother. I didn't intentionally go for a street shark's color scheme. It just kind of happened. Yeah, the back is where I'm running into most of the coverage issues just because it's such a large surface, large flat surface at that. Relatively flat surface, so we're running into that issue. But it's not too bad. Yeah, I almost swore. Not that this is a clean stream, but I try not to swear too much. But thank you very much for popping in, Goblin Welder. It's midnight for me as well, so I'm probably going to be going to bed soon. But thanks for hanging out, and thanks for the raid. But keep lurking. Yeah, keep lurking and working. T and Bush Crafter, good evening. Welcome on in. J Mac. Stumbled across the stream. Scroll back to start. See the Fishmen I've painted so far. They look great. Just follow you on Instagram. Well, thank you for that. Yeah, if you are, if you're watching the stream and you are interested in seeing some of the other stuff that I've painted, I typically post all of my finished painted projects on Instagram at Blue Wizard Studio. So you can check that out if you so desire. Give me a follow. That's where these will live. I am a little bit behind on some of my older, or some of my other painted projects, just because I've been doing so much of this bulk painting. I haven't had really a whole lot of time to take the pictures. But I will be posting more on there very soon. But give that a follow if you're interested. I have all the hero quests that I've painted up until this point, except for the monsters, which I've posted the chaos, not chaos, yeah. Well, they're chaos to me, but the Dread Sorcerers and the Witch King, or the Witch Lord, as well. So, yeah. I am, whether fortunately or unfortunately, an early adopter of the 2021 re-release of Hero Quest, because I loved the Hero Quest from the 80s. My dad had a copy, and I used to play it with him all the time. It was one of my favorite things to do because I liked hanging out with my dad and playing Hero Quest. And little did he know that it would turn me into a huge nerd, but, you know. I loved playing it, and when they announced on my birthday, September 22nd, 2021, that it was going to be that they were going to be re-releasing it in an updated version. And they had like sort of that weird Hasbro style Kickstarter campaign, which they call the HasLab campaign, which, you know, they're like, you know, hey, pledge this much, and we're gonna, and you get the Mythic Edition, which was Hero Quest, the core, the game system, as well as Keller's Keep and Return of the Witch Lord, the first 2 expansions, and you got this box of a whole bunch of other things, a bunch of alternative sculpts for the abominations, which are what I'm painting now. These are not the alternative sculpts, but I have the alternative sculpts in the queue here. They're up next after these fellows. And they also had alternate sculpts for goblins and orcs, and mummies and zombies and skeletons, the works. You name it, they had it. And they also had alternative sculpts for the heroes themselves. They had gender swapped versions, because in the base set you had the barbarian, the elf, the dwarf, and the wizard. And then in the re-release, they made the elf by default female, and they released the male sculpt of that elf, along with female versions of the barbarian, the wizard, and dwarf, which all very cool. They also had a Sir Ragnar mini, which you save him in one quest. And they had a prisoner Sir Ragnar, which was pretty cool.
Lucky you and me on the Charles River. I could die
What the hell is
now,
this?
but I'm just
Sorry.
never felt
was-
like before.
The music had the voices in it. I got confused. Yeah, they had all that and a little Mentor figure as well. Mentor, the guy who gives you all the quests. So all that stuff came in the 2021 Mythic campaign, and I backed it immediately. And I watched as the other rewards kind of rolled in, because it was a very successful campaign. So I was super, super happy that it got funded, and then it got released, and I've been playing a heck of a lot of it with my dad, because he's the only real game group or only person that I can find around here that plays Hero Quest, which is sort of ironic. I'm trying to find a game group in the area that I live in that's interested in playing, but I think it's kind of a niche game, so it's kind of hard to get people on board for it. All right, so that is those are our midtones for our red Fishman here. And then we're going to go move up a step. We're going to use Skeleton Legion. This is our first, probably only highlight if my plan goes according to plan. But this may not be bright enough to really stand out, but we'll see. I don't want this to be too bright of a tan. But it may not be different enough to stand out. Yeah, it's not really bright enough to stand out. So this is going to be our transitional color, and then we're going to move on to a brighter tan, which is a little unfortunate, but you know, I was hoping I could save time. Turns out I can't. It's just too subtle. I think this is going to be the last bit of paint I put on this guy. It is almost 1 a.m. It is 12:33 here, and I do have things I have to do in the morning, so we will pick this back up on Thursday and paint the scales, and then we'll move on to the challenge that's going to be either figuring out how to do the very squiddly looking ones, or I'll go and do some of the other details on these fellas. But I think I might try to figure out how to do the squiddly guys, because I'm a little intimidated by them because there's a lot of detail on them. And they're very busy. So I'm trying to figure out exactly what I'm going to do to make them look good. Because they're kind of all over the place. So they're great sculpts. They look very cool, but painting them is what I'm the most worried about. Because I'll show them to you after I finish this highlight, and they're kind of extreme. Get this knee. Get this knee. Get the toes. All right. The thigh. I'm just hitting the tops of the muscles and where they like stretch, kind of where you would see like kind of noticeable strain. I'm not trying to go too nuts with these highlights. You may or may not be able to see on the stream, but it's not a real like defined highlight. Okay. All right. So that's our our transitional highlight there. So I think we're gonna move up on a final highlight up to the brightest tan that I have, or brightest like sort of bone color that I have, which is Vampire Fang. That's what we'll end that there. But yeah, we're not going to do that tonight because it is 12:40. So we're going to close up shop for now, and we'll hit that next time. So, just to review, we have gotten this fellow here. He is almost done with his skin. We just need to do the skin and the scales on him. Finish the skin, do the scales. And then we did this other guy tonight. The orange and red one. And yeah, he came out pretty nice. We did the skin and the scales for him. It's a better looking scheme than I thought it was going to be after I put that first orange layer down. I thought that it wasn't going to look very good, but it came out looking all right. Then we have in the past finished the green ones. We have 2 of these guys. We did these last week on Thursday. And then on Monday last week, we did these 2 guys, the blue abominations with the white bodies. So we have done almost all of this pose. I have 6 of these guys, and then we have 2 more, which these are the 2 that I'm sort of intimidated by. And the reason, I mean, just look at the detail on this thing. And like, we got all these little squiddly biddlies there, and then there's so much texture. It's hard to tell where the skin is, where the barnacles are, and like where the scales are. I mean, they're just wild looking, but they're awesome. So we're gonna have to see how to paint these fellas. That's gonna be fun. All right, but that's gonna do it for tonight. Let me close up shop. All right, we're gonna go for a little trip here in a second. I'm gonna switch over to this screen. Woo! Excuse me. All right. Woo! Okay, well, time to play my my outro song. I should have this on queued up on track. But I don't, because I'm a professional. All right. All right, so this is gonna be it for us. But thank you very much for hanging out with me, and thank you so much, Goblin Loner, for the raid. Thank you for all the folks who followed tonight, and thank you for all the folks who came on YouTube and hung out. It's been a ton of fun, and you know, it's good. We get more people every time we stream, so I'm super happy about that. And we'll keep doing it as long as folks keep digging it. I love hanging out. I love painting, and we're gonna keep it up. Next stream will be on Thursday. Thursday at around 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm gonna update all my stuff on Twitch later this week. So, yeah, thanks for hanging out. Let's see if there's anybody we want to try to raid out to. I don't know who's doing models and painting. That's what I want to know. Miniatures and models. Let's check it out. If anybody has any suggestions, I'm open to suggestions on Twitch. So, but we'll look for somebody to raid out too. Oh, hey, that's me. I've got a whole lot of folks on tonight. Oh, good. I gotta ban somebody right as we're leaving a chat. Well, I don't know any of these people, and I can't hang out, so I'm probably not gonna raid out to anybody tonight. But next week we'll raid out to somebody. On Thursday we'll raid out to somebody, and hopefully, you know, we'll have some suggestions. But thanks for hanging out. See you on Thursday, hopefully, and have a good night.
Do not let the parting grieve thee. Remember that the best of friends must part. Adieu, adieu, kind friends, adieu, adieu, adieu. I can no longer stay with you. I'll hang my harp on a weeping willow tree, and may the world go well with thee.